On this episode of the show rundown, Bob's Burgers takes the hot seat as there's a debate on whether it's good or washed up. Find out the final verdict on the show rundown.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the show rundown. I'm JJ Marshall.
And I'm Gavin Ali. This episode we are going to be talking about Bob's Burgers. So, I haven't seen the show, but JJ, you have. So can you tell us what it's about?
Yeah, it's about a family that owns a burger restaurant. It's like following their antics, day-to-day life, working there.
Okay. Is there like any specific antics that come to your mind?
It's usually something, pretty goofy. There's usually a problem with the kids.
Ah, all right. So it's basically parents trying to keep an eye out on their kids. I see. All right. But are there a lot of characters in Bob's Burger? Because
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of side characters, and then there's 5 main characters.
okay. Do you mind telling us a bit more about the main characters?
There's Bob, who's the chef, and he owns the restaurant. And then there's Linda, who's his wife. And then he has 3 kids, Tina, who's really quiet, Jean, who's like funny, goofball, and Louise, who's like the little devil child.
Okay, all right. I'm guessing with like 5. Usually, when there's 5 main characters, there's usually some sort of dynamic between all of them. So, can you give us some dynamics?
It's really just the siblings. It's a whole family dynamic as a whole. They're the Belchers. They really get along, but it's really there's Louise and Jean, and then also all 3 of them. They all get along.
So
they argue.
So they play off each other
Yeah,
really well.
They do.
All right. So I looked it up, and there's 15 seasons. Surprisingly, how much have you seen?
I think I saw the first 7 seasons or 8.
Right. Do you feel confident in ranking them right now?
I would say, they probably found their stride, like season 2, season 3 was probably. Out of what I watched, 4 was pretty good.
And then, as the later seasons happen, you begin to lose some interest.
Yeah, I've seen some of the newer episodes too, if I catch them on TV, but they're just not as good. So really the later seasons aren't good. Or they're not bad, they're just not as good.
Okay, all right. So there's a lot of comparisons Bob's Burgers could be made. What do you think fits the most?
I would say The Simpsons, honestly.
The Simpsons.
It's a similar family dynamic.
Is it because of the family dynamic and the surrounding wacky shenanigans and the world around them? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, what are the differences? Do you notice any huge differences that may come to you?
Well, I would say the huge difference is how Bob's Burgers is more so centered around them working in a burger shop, whereas they don't have one thing that brings them all together in The Simpsons.
Oh, okay. All right. And I did say the similarities. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, and now we are going to be talking about the show's reviews and how everyone saw Bob's Burgers. So, how did you see the show received?
Everyone really likes Bob's Burgers. It's kind of got a cult following. It's a comfort show for a lot of people. They were successful enough that they were able to make a movie off it, so I think that alone says a lot.
Yeah, especially with I remember especially that when it first during 2016, 2017, it was really big then.
Oh, it really was, yeah.
Yeah, I do believe that I even saw some parts of it, even though I haven't seen a lot of it. I have seen some parts, and I think it's it has a comforting vibe.
Oh yeah, it 100% does.
Yeah. So, do you think it put an impact on the world? Do you think that that Bob's Burgers inspired a lot of things?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, maybe if depressed, or Bob's Burgers kind of is like a comfort, kind of makes them happy, could motivate them.
Yeah, so
They can
it
see themselves in some of the characters.
okay. So it kind of brings them up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really interesting way to put it because if you're saying that like a lot of people like it, then that means that it must have some sort of magical charm that keeps people coming back. And I think that's somewhat describes a strong show.
Oh,
But
of
the
course.
question is, did the charm stay? Is there still a strong fan base today?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, definitely. You have other cartoons like South Park, Family Guy, American Dad, all those Simpsons even been around a lot longer than Bob's Burgers, and they were able to come out while those shows were at their peak and still build a strong fan base, similar like in numbers, like amount to shows like South Park, Family Guy.
Now that you asked that, I do want to bring this up. When you said the show Bob's Burgers was not as good, would you say that it went to the level you would call bad?
No, I wouldn't say it's bad. I would say less enjoyable.
Okay, so what do you recommend for the show as a whole, not just one?
Oh, as a whole, I would recommend the show 100%.
All right, and why do you think so?
Yeah, because it's like I said, it's very comforting. It's got a comforting vibe to it. A lot of people, it could really help them. They would just enjoy it. I think it's something background noise for some people, but for others, it really speaks to them.
Interesting. I definitely need to check that out. But do you think it could relate to me as an audience, or is there a different type of general audience you think it could relate to?
I think with Bob's Burgers, with the amount of characters they have, I think it kind of can relate to every audience because there's different characters for different audiences.
Interesting. All right. I didn't think that was possible of an answer, but that's really enlightening. All right. That's the end for this episode of the Show Rundown.
We thank you all for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the show.